All right, I believe everybody's had time to get settled in, get some dinner. We appreciate everybody coming out tonight, taking your time to come and hear from these candidates, and we appreciate all the candidates that were able to attend. Not everybody was able to attend. Don't read anything into that. We have to pick a date, and then we have to go with that. And if we modified it to suit one person, the other person wouldn't be able to come. So, you know, to some degree, this was arbitrarily chosen date, but you just got to roll with it. So that's what that is. So not everybody is able to be here tonight, but I'm sure that those candidates, most of these people, are happy to have you reach out to them if they're not able to be here tonight. Some are out of state, some had previous engagements. Reach out to them directly if you want to hear from them. I'm sure they'll be glad to talk to you. We're going to start tonight with the Van Buren County Sheriff's candidates. And I believe tonight Eric Kuntz is here, who's running as a Republican. John Willoughby is here, who's running as a Democrat. And Michael Shamoon was unable to attend tonight. So we'll go ahead and have Eric and John come on up, please. And we'll get started with that office. Sorry if I interrupted your dinner there. We're going to do the best we can with the equipment we're working with tonight, but I am going to ask these candidates as they use the microphone if you just hold it right up against your mouth. Okay. Don't lick it, but keep it close. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and have a seat over there, and we'll pass that back and forth.
Hey, we got a timer.
Yeah, we got a timer. We got a beeper. We're doing the best we can. Okay, we do not have an incumbent in this race, so we're going kind of on the fly here, different than we are in some of these other offices, but we're just going to start off and work through this here. And I'm going to give each of you the question, give you both opportunity to answer it, and there's a time limit to each question, which is reflected on that. I'll tell you what it is for each question. Some of them are, yeah. Oh, you talking to me already?
Don't lick it.
Well, this is my karaoke microphone. If I start singing, okay. While the law enforcement agencies are sworn to uphold the law, the sheriff has the prosecutorial discretion to focus resources on issues of importance within his jurisdiction. What will be the top priority for your administration? We'll go ahead and start with John, if you would. We'll try to limit this to 2 minutes, please.
I believe that we ought to focus on the drug problem we have here in the county. Both of us have worked canine before and everything, but and I've worked DTF, and I think if you're aggressive toward the guys that are dealing the drugs to our kids and and our family members, I think that's what we need to focus on, a big part of it. So that's about what I need. So.
Thank you, John. We'll go ahead with Eric there.
Any sheriff that tries to focus on one particular thing, we've had that in the past. That's what we're dealing with now. Any sheriff that we've had in the past that has tried to focus on one particular thing, and we've had that in the past and we have it now, they go in hard saying, we're going to fight drugs, we're going to fight drugs. Well, my biggest complaints I hear of is there's a lot of theft and cases that are not being, having a deputy or an investigator assigned to. So when you concentrate in one area, you lack in others. And my goal is to concentrate on all the sheriff's responsibilities. That means making sure the jail is in tip-top shape, it's in bad shape, and it needs to be fixed. If it's my understanding, the doors don't lock, the hinges are sprung. It's a safety issue for jailers. So you've got to work on the jail, you've got to work on your deputies, and you've got to work just as hard on the drugs. I'm not saying we're going to focus on that jail. We're going to focus on the drugs. We're going to focus on the jail. We're going to focus on making sure deputies have the equipment they need to take care of complaints such as this officer did this or did that. We're going to have body cameras and we're going to have dash cameras. So I think it's not one focus. A good sheriff needs to be able to spread himself across all the responsibilities and not neglect any one of those.
Thank you both on that, and that leads us right into this next question, which is about the detention center. And as Eric mentioned, the detention center is showing its age. In January of this year, the Quorum Court budgeted $375,000 of ARP funds to restore the detention door locking systems to working order, but the current administration has put all major projects, that one included, on hold pending the election of a new sheriff. Do you plan, one of the questions that we received was, do you plan to fix the broken things in the jail that have been in disrepair? And how will you budget this so that jailers, dispatchers, and the detainees, for that matter, safety and civil rights are preserved? We'll go ahead and go back to John with this in 2 minutes.
Well, I also heard that there was funds already for that, and the prior administration didn't. He didn't want to do that. He put it on hold, just like he said. When I worked up there, the doors were the same. Were in the same shape. Apparently, it hadn't been fixed yet. So I mean, there's doors in the B pod, all the B pod doors. You can't even lock them, and everything. We were always having trouble with the pod, keeping the pods locked. I think that is a main focus too of the jail, to get it fixed. If the money is there, we need to fix it. The prior administration, they fixed up the administration office. I thought that was not a good idea at the time, and I even addressed the prior Lucas about it. I told him, I said, you know, I think the jail needs to be fixed before that, because you know your safety of your dispatchers, jailers, I mean, and the inmates. So I think if the funds are there, I think you need to appropriate it and get it fixed.
Thank you, Eric. That'll be the same question.
It's good common sense to always make safety first. When elected, if I can get it done before then, if we can get it signed, we're going to go ahead and sign off on the repairs. The biggest problem with those repairs, even though I believe it was about $30,000 worth of repairs in the jail, some of that stuff is so old and antiquated, they don't even make that anymore. So we may actually have to go back and ask for more money. And that being said, the money's there. We have the ARP money, and I will make that a priority over getting anything extra, getting anything that is not necessary, because the detention itself and the officers, their safety is key. What good is it to be an officer or a deputy and bring people in and hold them just to have them break out or get into fights, or heaven forbid, like when I worked there, we had one of the inmates hang themselves and they couldn't get in there quick enough to get him down, and that wound up costing the county thousands of dollars. Now that's been a long time ago and I'm getting pretty old, but I do remember it like it was yesterday. It is a priority for that jail to be fixed, so that will be a priority. And as far as anyone's civil rights, whether it's the officers that work in the jail or the detainees, if we have to farm them out, just as we do, we actually take in federal inmates. If we have to send some of ours out just to fix the pod, we'll do that, because that's the safest way to do it if it needs to be done. Now, if we can combine them into one cell, move all of D pod to C pod, then we'll do that until that one's fixed, then move them back. But it may take stages, and it's going to take time. All this has happened, like John said, since, you know, me and him's been in law enforcement for 20-something years. So that's the end of my time, but it's been a long time coming.
Thank you. This leads us right in, and we've started to address it already. In recent years, there have been safety issues also in the jail resulting from inmate capacity. So how do you plan to resolve jail and inmate capacity and classification issues, which has led to some real unfortunate situations? We'll go back to John again.
What I would do is sorry, I got something stuck in my throat here. Dang. I think it's that lettuce, I don't know. We do hold a lot of federal inmates at the jail, and that kind of puts a damper on us holding the ones here in the county that do the crimes and everything. We can't hold them because we have so many in the jail, and we got more federal inmates than we used to. I think if we held less federal inmates, I believe we'll have more room for our own here in the county. So that's what I would do.
The Van Buren County Jail was built to originally hold, I believe it was 52 people. That was a capacity. At one time, they added on to the back for 309s. That created, I believe, 4 beds for 309s to move out of the pods to the back. So that increased it by 4. Now we're at 56. Well, that jail at times exceeds that limit, and I know that for a fact because it did when I worked there. We had people sleeping on mattresses in the floors. The biggest problem, since we did take on feds, is it did take up some of our room. But our population has grown since we've had this gas and oil industry, and our population in the jail has went up because crime's going up. The economy's getting worse, we're having more problems, and we need to house more locals. That being said, if we have to cut down on federal inmates, that's not a problem. I don't think at any time we should ever exceed what D-Pod holds. We have A, B, and C pod for locals, D-Pod for federals. If at any time we need more room, we have to push out some of the federals, we send them back, we make room for our own. But we don't ever exceed the limit on D-Pod for federal inmates. The classification issue, in the past, we have had to deal with some juveniles. You can't have them in the same jail as adults, so they go to Faulkner County. But if we have violent offenders, they're supposed to be separated from nonviolent offenders. Sometimes that's hard, but if you have to make it happen, you have to. And that's managing your staff and your inmates. If you have to let one go and let them out on bond, or if you have to, we have to get the ankle bracelets and monitor somebody that's a non-violent offender, then that's what we'll do to house a violent offender. But we'll have to make those choices as they occur.
Thank you both. How do you plan on streamlining the Sheriff's Department to benefit the citizens of Van Buren County? And the implication of this question, as I understood it, was perhaps the integration of technology and things of that nature that are available now that are perhaps not being used. John, if you go ahead and start on that.
Chair's giving me fits. Hey, I believe body cams will do a lot of good for us. When I was police chief over at Fairfield Bay, they were in the 1970s still. We had to wear uniforms that were worn by David Britton and Murphy Taylor and some of them other guys in the 1970s. So we ended up, we had to get new uniforms and stuff like that. But I believe that the body cams, I got that started over there, and we did that here in Clinton when I was police chief here at Clinton. The body cams will help us out more than anything. It'll keep our officers doing their job the way they're supposed to, and if it comes up, I've had in Clinton, I had the time or two that people said, "Hey, these officers are treating me this way or treating me that way." When I viewed the body cam, it wasn't the case. It was the person that was complaining on them that was doing it. So I believe the body cams are a must in the Van Buren County Sheriff's Department.
Kind of like a rapper. Okay. The sheriff's office needs to come into the current, I guess you'd say, realm of technology. We are antiquated. A lot of deputies have told me that the computers themselves, that they do reports in the back in the officers' rooms, all need replaced. So we need to update some computers, maybe some printers. But that's going to help in one aspect. Another is the body cameras and the dash cams. Now, they're a combination set that I have looked at personally, and they come with software that tracks the vehicles in real time. They have, it's just like getting a text. They have a little monitor on them. If a deputy's been in the same position for a long time, say an hour, and his camera's still rolling, you can type, "Hey, are you still out on a call?" He might go, "Oh, my mistake, I forgot to turn it off." That's going to keep the officers safe. It's going to let us know where they're at. I don't hear about a lot of problems with deputies misusing the vehicles right now, but we have had that in the past. And this particular body camera and dash cam setup, it does actually track the vehicles. So you can actually see where they've been. You can see if they're leaving the county. If they're taking their kids to Conway to the movie in a county vehicle that's paid for by you, the taxpayer, and you're paying for the fuel, then we're going to stop that. That's not going to be allowed. Our equipment and our tax dollars are going to be used here in Van Buren County. But we're going to do the best we can to advance our technology so that it not just helps the officers, it takes care of your investment into this sheriff's office.
Thank you, gentlemen. One of the questions that we had was about dash cameras and body cameras, but you've both spoken in favor of that you'd like to implement those if you're elected. How about we just skip the question about whether you'll use them, and we'll go straight to how are you going to pay for them? We'll just, shouldn't take more than a minute to address that, I'm sure.
When we got our body cams at Fairfield Bay and Clinton, we went through a grant writing program and got our body cams that way. Because our budget, you have to stay within your budget. I stayed within very small budgets, both places, and you have to stay within your budget, period. But there's grants out there for everything. If you just got somebody that will go in there and look, there's grants for everything. I think Clinton, Jay Murdoch, he had them dash cams and the body cams through a grant, and man, they're awesome. He showed me where they were on the computer and everything, where you could see where the vehicles were and different things, and it's a good system. But they did get that through grants, and that's the way I'd probably have to do.
That's a minute.
Seems like a short minute, doesn't it? Yes, we're in favor of body cameras and dash cameras, and in order to fund them, I may be speaking out of turn, but I'm going by what I understand. The original ARP money that was set aside for the sheriff's office was going to be in the amount of, I believe, 1 or 1.2 million. Now, that being said, cameras are not going to cost. When John refers to the cameras that Jay Murdoch got for the city, $30,000 for 6 cameras. The county's going to need about 15. Now, we're not going to spend or deplete that money just because it's there. We're going to get what's necessary. But now, if we run into a problem and that money needs to be put somewhere else in this county, I'll understand that, and then we will apply for grants. Because he's right, there are grants out there. You can just about Google a grant for any law enforcement department, and as long as you take the time and sit down and fill the grant out properly, you're going to get it.
Thank you, gentlemen, and that is correct. According to the, we'll get into this a little bit more in the JP debate, but according to the Budget Committee meeting in July of this year, the Emberton administration has turned back $1.2 million that was designated for their use originally.
That's pretty good.
So we'll move on. That's of course, you're not going to be in office until January.
Yeah.
Okay, now we've heard quite a bit now on these issues, specific issues from both of you, and there are a lot of similarities. So what we'd like to know now is, John, if you are elected, what will differentiate your administration from your opponents? We'll have 2 minutes for this.
Well, I'll be honest with you. We both have a lot of the same ideas. We've talked a long time before about when he was running for sheriff before. And I don't know, guys. I mean, I want things done different. Eric wants things done different. We got different ways that we want our deputies to be. I think, you know, we need them trained more than what they were. The last administration wouldn't let them go and do training. I'm all for training. We got certified instructors here in our county, at Fairfield Bay, Clinton, and the Sheriff's Department. We've never, ever hardly worked together before. I don't know why the prior sheriffs would say, you know, hey, you know, don't hang out over there, or, you know, we don't want them backing us up or whatever. You know, I think we all need to work together, and use the deputies that we got, the certified officers that we've got in our county. Like I said, I don't think that we're too far apart, really, from what we want in the sheriff's office. That's kind of a hard choice for you guys to make whenever you're picking between me and Eric. Is that, you know, I just got to be honest. We got some of the same ideas that we want this sheriff's office to be.
I'm going to start by saying one of the things that won't be different is I know we wore the same shirt. That was not on purpose. That was accidental. But seriously, he's right.
I called him, really.
He is correct. I will say this. We have some of the same goals. His heart's in it. My heart's in it. We care about this community. So the only thing that differentiates us is the years. He's 55 and I'm 51. So, or he'll be 55 and I'll be 51. So, anyways. So, one of the big things I want to press upon the deputies, if and when I'm elected as sheriff, is for them to be professional, courteous, and be nice. I call it the Roadhouse mentality. If you've ever watched Roadhouse, when it was time for them to do their job, then it was time to get nasty or dirty. But until then, you always project professionalism. You treat people with kindness. Now, it's different when they get their hand on your gun, or they've taken your nightclub from you, and about 3 or 4 come from nowhere and they're all beating you up. You kind of tend to change, and there's nothing you can do about that. The real you comes out, and I understand that. But it's at that point, it's survival. But I want every one of my officers, with us having new cameras, to be out there and be professional, and when we get complaints, we're going to follow up on every one of them. So I'm not saying it's going to be different, because I feel like all sheriff candidates should want the same thing, and that is for their officers to be professional. But I want them to be nice. I want them to be polite. I want them to do their job, and I want them to remember they work for you.
Thank you both. We're going to skip down here a little ways. an issue that's been on a lot of people's mind is this radio frequency. If you are elected, will you maintain the Sheriff's Department radio frequency in its current encrypted status, or will you open it to the public? We'll just probably need a minute for that.
Yeah. And that's an easy question. Yes, we will open it up to the communities. I believe that communication is a must. Even when y'all are listening on your scanners and we get in trouble, or if we get lost somewhere out there, it's been in the past that somebody's called in and said, hey man, if he'll take a right down here at this one little road, blah, 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 he'll be right there, you know. And it helps us out more than anything. I don't think we need to keep anything from you guys in in the community. I think you should have a say in a lot of things. You haven't had that in a long time, and I think that you need to know what your sheriff's office is doing. I think we need to be transparent, you know, to you, and I'm gonna open up that frequency to everybody.
Currently, the new administration, or the one that's in there now, when they took office, what they did was they got off of the frequency they were on and they opened up a new one. So we have two frequencies, and the one that everybody has in their scanners is not being used. So we're gonna go back to the frequency if we can, and use the one that's already programmed into people's scanners if they still have them. And yeah, it'll be made public. We'll actually post it on our website. We'll post it at the front door, so that anybody that would like to listen can listen to the day-to-day operations. That being said, we will still use the other channel, but only for emergencies or anything that does not need to be disseminated to the general public. And by law, there are certain things we can't. Anything that's under investigation, if we're fixing to do a raid or serve a bunch of warrants. So that being said, we're going to use that as a tactical channel. And at any given time, if you're not hearing any traffic on the radio, that probably means there's something pretty important going on.
Thank you. Eric, you can hold that microphone. This one will be a simple yes or no, probably for both of you. Do you currently have a lawsuit filed against the county?
No, I do not, and never have.
John?
No, I do not.
Thank you. Sheriffs are responsible, as both of you have mentioned already. Eric, you can go ahead and hold that. Sheriffs are responsible for managing quite tight budgets at times, as is the case in this county, which makes financial literacy critical. Do you have an active bankruptcy on your credit history currently?
No, they fall off after 7 years. 20 years ago, I had a bankruptcy. My wife, Leslie, of 30 years, has diabetes type 2. She was the breadwinner for our family 20 years ago. She was in insurance, and I was just getting started in law enforcement. That being said, we lost a big portion of our income. That can happen to you, that can happen to anybody you know. And our only option was to file bankruptcy at the time. Since then, we've fixed our credit. I have a 748. I can show it to you if you want to ask me later. That's fine, it's on Credit Karma. I own my own business, a transport business. I do very well. That's something that happened to me in the past, and I have moved on from it.
Thank you, John. That'll be the same question.
And I've never claimed bankruptcy or filed bankruptcy in my life. So I've always been blessed of having or managing the money to where I didn't have to do that. I know there's some situations that arise that you may have to. I was just blessed not to have had to do that. So.
Thank you, sir. This next question, how do you plan to clean up the drugs in Van Buren County? We'll give you each 2 minutes. Eric, you can go ahead and start, I think.
Drugs have been a problem in Van Buren County ever since I began 23 years ago under Mike Bridges. I remember being a jailer and sitting on meth labs while they were getting warrants. I was just a part-time deputy at the time. And there has been times when we've had a lot of meth problems, and then there's been times when it's slacked off. We will never get rid of drugs, meth, we have fentanyl, we have black tar heroin, we have so much drugs. People don't see that haven't been here long enough. I spoke with a couple that said they've lived here for a little over a year, and they said they pretty much enjoy living here. There's not that much problem. I said, well, I've lived here my whole life, and having been a police officer for that long, I've had to deal with drugs. Our current administration does not, and I'm not trying to down them, I'm just telling you the facts. They do not have a good working relationship with the other departments. They don't have that good working relationship with the DTF. That is a resource that we're doing without. You are not getting the benefit of that in this county because they work other counties. Whatever beef is there with the current administration, whether John gets in there or I get there, they have told me they're willing to come back into this county and work hard. So we're going to work hard with them. We're going to work hard ourselves to get drugs. I've had several drug interdiction classes. I've been a canine officer. I've gotten lots of drugs in my 23 years as an officer, and I'm going to lead these guys to do the same.
The sheriff's office currently has 2 canines. I've talked it over with several different people, and I think that they need to be aggressive with the drug problem here. And like, you don't have to have a drug dog to get drugs, you know, but you got to be out there, you got to be making traffic stops. A lot of people are against, you know, them making traffic stops and different things. I think the officers need to be out there patrolling our highways here. We got a main thoroughfare here. A lot of drugs have been up and down this highway. As chief over here, we did plenty of bust by just making a traffic stop, and we're using our canine. I'm going to be aggressive toward the drugs. That don't mean that that's all I'm going to focus on. Okay, I mean there's other things that needs to be focused on. We got children being, you know, molested all the time. I think we need to have a person that is strictly for that, and I do have a plan for that. And but the drugs, I'm going to be aggressive for the drugs.
Thank you, gentlemen, and this will be the last question. It'll just take you a moment. Corrine forbade me from asking this question, but somebody else asked it, and she's not here. If you had to vote for one of your opponents, who would it be and why?
I'll take that.
Don't hold this against me. But out of the 3 opponents we currently have, I would vote for John, and I'm going to tell you why. I didn't want to have to reveal this, but we are related. We're third cousins. So what it boils down to is family.
That's what I was gonna say. Eric, good God. But yeah, I would vote for Eric. You know, we've all worked together. Eric worked for me. He was my lieutenant. He was an investigator of the police department down here in Clinton, and did a very good job. I didn't have any qualms about him, you know. But you know, I've worked with Mike Shamoon also, and we both have. And Mike's a good officer, and he's had his things that's happened, you know, in the past, and that's in the past. So, but if I voted for somebody, I would vote for Eric.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your time and coming out tonight. Appreciate that. If I could get the drawing bucket, Philip, would you mind bringing me the tickets? We're going to have a drawing now while we have Del Holt and David Holcomb come on up to the stage, please. It's drawing time. We're going to give away. We're going to give away 6 potted mums tonight, I'm told. And so get your tickets ready. I'll do a random drawing. The last 4 digits on this coupon is 8867. 8867. Who's the lucky winner of this red potted mum? Congratulations, ma'am. Don't forget to pick this up after the night is over. Or you can come get it now and hold it in your lap. Okay, JP District 1, we've got the incumbent James Del Holt, who's running as a Democrat, and David Holcomb, who is running as a Republican. We'll get started right off this evening. I'll reset this thing. Okay, JPs, Justices of the Peace, are responsible for legislation and, of course, appropriating all the funds for the county, or handle all the budgets, and really hold the purse strings for the county. So we're going to start off with a 2-minute answer to the question, what is your vision for the county, and what do you hope to accomplish if you're elected? We'll go ahead and start with David, since he's the contender.
Vision for the county simply is growth. Any money that's appropriated should be spent in our county, and I would love to see our county grow. Having a conversation earlier, Greenbrier's exploding, Harrison's exploding. We are bookend by growth, and I think that Van Buren County, it's our turn to grow. And so whatever that it would take to help our county grow, that is my vision for Van Buren County.
Good evening. I'm glad to see all of you here tonight. And I have been on the court for 12 years, and hopefully we'll be on for another 2 years. But my vision is similar to Dave. We've got a lot of stuff that we can do. As you know, or you may not know, our money is not going up every year. We're getting less and less. So it's harder to make the budget work. But unlike Washington, we have to have a budget, and it has to be codified. They can get away with stuff, but we can't. Well, under law, we have to have a balanced budget. So what we need to do is try to reach out and get more businesses to try to come to Clinton. But we have to offer them something to be here. They're just not going to waltz in and say, hey, we want to be a part of what you got going. They're coming in and saying, what can you offer us to be here? So we have to look out at that range and on our court, and as we have our money that we have to build every year, and we have to see what we can, as well as the city, because we work in conjunction with the city. We have to be able to, both of us, figure out how we're going to get more industry, more businesses. We're getting smaller businesses. 3 are just opening here recently, and every little small business is a great business. So, you know, hopefully, and we just had the new Mexican restaurant open down by the vet clinic. That's wonderful. So, haven't eaten there yet, but it looks like it's been packed every night. So, I'm going to try to get out there. But anyway, so it's going to take a lot of concern from all of us to try to figure out how we're going to get more industry, have more businesses, and more people. Now, we are having people coming into Van Buren County from California, from all over the place. So we're getting new residents, and it's a good thing. So hopefully, as our money situation continues to somewhat improve, then we will be able to get better and better people and more businesses.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll go back to David with this one. Please detail, we kind of, as Dell mentioned, he's been Justice of the Peace for 12 years now. So if you would, please detail what you will do differently from your opponent and why that would be.
I don't know that I would do anything different than Dale. Dale was one of the first persons that I met when I moved here, and I have a lot of admiration for Dale. I do think that being new into politics, this is the first time that I have ran for any kind of office. I'm interested in seeing new people get involved, and that's what I would like to do. I want to get involved with our community. I've lived here for 16 years, raised my family here, and I want to be a part of what is coming as far as growth. Would I do things different? I don't have anything against what Dale has done. I have this philosophy. Why sit back and complain about politics if you're not going to get involved? Every one of us complain, we don't get involved. I've been guilty of that. And so, no more complaining. I'm going to get involved, and if you so choose to elect me, then that would be great. If not, we'll continue to support Dale. But it's just time for some new thought, new direction, new blood, new people to get involved in local politics.
I applaud David for wanting to be a part of the Corn Court. And yes, we always are looking for new blood. However, longevity means a lot on our court. I am the oldest member on the court except for one of my buddies who's not here tonight, unfortunately. But I'm the longest tenure on the Corn Court. And I've seen a lot of stuff since I've been on in 12 years. We've gone from really bad to looking a lot better to, hey, we're doing pretty good. Let's keep that up. But it's been a hard road. We all have to work very hard at it. And it's not something, and I want all of y'all to know this, and I'm sure probably David feels the same way. When we walk into that courtroom, we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we're not independents. We are there for you, the people of the county. Politics means nothing in the Corn Court. Not to me, and not to everybody that's on our court right now. We have the best Corn Court we've had in years. And we are all working hard to make sure you, the people of our county, get what we deserve in every aspect. So I want you all to know that.
Thank you. We'll go back to David, and this will be a 1-minute answer for each of you. JPs, as we've already established, are responsible for the finances of the entire county. Do either of you have an active bankruptcy on your credit history?
No, I do not.
No, I do not.
Thank you, gentlemen. We've received a windfall of almost $3 million from the American Rescue Plan in the last year approximately. In a Budget Committee meeting held in July, Judge Dale James, as we mentioned earlier, stated that about $1.2 million of that remained available on account of the Sheriff's Department turning it back. In the September Quorum Court meeting, the judge related that restrictions on local governments who had received under $10 million in these ARP funds had been significantly relaxed, so they're available to be used in a wider array of things. This opens many options for the potential use of those remaining funds, and how is it that you believe those funds can best be used to benefit Van Buren County? David, if you would please start with that for a minute.
The allocation of money, you're saying the 1.2 million, how would we best use that? Is that what you're?
Yeah, basically this is federal government money that we've gotten.
Well, I think there are more opportunities to use the money than we have time to discuss tonight. But let me say this about turnback, and any money that's turned back is, in my opinion, shameful. I don't know, most of you probably don't know this, but in Van Buren County, we have a coalition of homeless. It's Delta Hills Continuum of Care. I chaired that for 3.5 years. And the federal government, if that money was not used, it was turned back to the general budget of the federal government. And that was to the tune of $83,000 for this county that was never used, and we couldn't allocate it because of the red tape. So if the red tape has been relaxed and the funds are easily accessible, then we have a list as long as my arm that we could do to improve this county. Infrastructure, anything, as Dale said, there are people moving here. Whatever that we can do to retain people in this county. I think one of the investments that need to happen is with our young people. Our children and our young people need an investment, and I would like to see that as a possibility.
Thank you, Dale. That'll be, again, how can those funds that are available to us best be used?
One of the first things that we need to consider is our county employees. They haven't had a raise in a very long time. Some of these funds can be used to do that. There are other things too that we need to look at around the county. Yes, we have a homeless problem. We have children's problem. We've got many problems that we need to look at. But county employees are our most important asset. And we don't want to lose any of them, and we'd like to gain a few more. However, that's something that we're going to have to look at. I am on the budget committee as well as many other committees on the county. And it's something we discussed last night at an open meeting in Fairfield Bay. And we're going to try to levelize the pay in the county. It has never been done, but it's got to be done. We got to make sure that Deputy 1 over here and Deputy 1 over there look the same. And it's going to take some work to do it, but we have the people to do it.
Thank you both, gentlemen. What is the best quality? We'll go back to David here for a minute. What is the best quality you bring to the office that your opponent does not?
That's a loaded question. If any of you have known me for any length of time, I'm very opinionated, and I am very straightforward with my speech. And Dale is a super, how would you say it, diplomatic in his approach. I'm pretty raw. So I don't know, Jackie, you're laughing. I can't help it. There's some that that knows this. So I'm straightforward and blunt, and Dale is gentleman and diplomatic.
He is absolutely correct. And that came from being in the Army for 28 years. I am a retired lieutenant colonel. I know how to manage people and money, and I've been very good at it. I started out as a PFC in the Army, worked my way up to E6, became a warrant officer, and got selected to be a commissioned officer and made it to the rank of lieutenant colonel. We're called mavericks in the Army. There's not that many of us, because we know everybody's job and what they do and how to do it. That's the same way that I've been on this court. We've all worked together very well, and we know what each other's doing. We have each other's back, okay? We have each other's back. I have a lot of respect for my Republican friends on the court, as they do me, and our independents. It's a family.
Thank you, gentlemen. This last question will be for David as well. On your affidavit of eligibility, David, you listed an address on Patton Street, which is not your residence, obviously. Can you tell us where you reside, and is it within the JP1 district, your permanent residence?
Yeah, I live at 189 Pine Street. It's on School Hill, and it is within my district.
That is all that we've got tonight for these justices of the peace, and we appreciate your time, gentlemen. Thank you for coming up. We're going to do another drawing. As Brian Tatum and Becky Page make their way, careful on those cords, buddy. We're going to do a drawing for this beautiful yellow pot of mums. Everybody get ready, get your tickets out. Our next winner, the last four digits are 8820. 8820. Who's the lucky winner? Look over here. Congratulations. A beautiful yellow pot of mums is now yours.
Thank you.
Now, you folks will have to bear with us. We got a lot of questions, but we kind of have to curate them. For example, one of the questions that somebody wanted me to ask everybody that came up here is, would you lie to get elected? Well, how do you know if the answer is yes or no? What if you already think they're going to do that? It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any sense to ask that question. Most of these questions that we're asking, other than the ones about what these ladies and gentlemen are going to do in the future, all these things are in black and white somewhere, and you can find your answers. So there's some responsibility on each of us to find out these things. We're going to move right in here. Brian Tatum is an independent, the incumbent, running for Justice of the Peace District 7. Becky Page is running as a Republican for this office. We'll go ahead and start with Becky, Brian has been there a while. We want to know, what is your vision, Becky, for the county, and what do you hope to accomplish if elected?
My hope is to, when I first announced that I was running for JP District 7, people immediately, within about a week, contacted me and control the spending. Well, I'm kind of afraid to. Everybody's had it too close. Control the spending. That was one of the things that some of my people reached out to me. Watch the spending. It's getting too high. We need to lower it. The second thing is the road conditions. Why can't we put more money towards the roads? And then the third is, like Dale mentioned, the employees. The office employees haven't had raises in quite a while. A lot of people would like to see that changed. I kind of agree with that. I want to be the voice of my people in my district. And Van Buren County has been good to me for years. I want to return the favor.
What I want to see for the county is, like some of the other candidates, I want to see the growth. I want to see the growth. Is that better? I usually don't have that problem. But growth is a big thing, and I think it's coming. There's a lot of things that's happened over the years with the 4-lane highway, the internet that's coming across now. I think we can start getting some businesses in here. And we're starting to get the small ones. Now we want the big ones. That's something that's coming. Something else that a vision is also to keep the budget under control. That's always a matter when we sit down every time and try to make sure that it's balanced every year, and that changes every year. You never know what money's coming in, what money's going out from the government, or what taxes are coming in. I really see that the growth in Van Buren County is going to explode over the next few years. I really do.
Thank you both. We had a question, and since you brought it up, Becky, we'll go ahead and move right into this. How will you cut the budget? Since that's one of the things you'd like to do, we'll just spend a minute. Where is it? Some specific things that you're going to cut the budget.
Well, that's kind of a tough question because, I'm not in there. I haven't seen where the budget's at. So my thoughts is get in there, go line by line, and see if any cuts can be made. And until you get in there, you just don't know.
At this time, I will not cut the budget. Okay? With growth, you have to have the money to do that. Right now, everything's looking pretty good. Have we in the past? You betcha. We have. We had to make some really hard decisions. We had to cut some positions. But right now, we're doing pretty good. At this time, there's no... don't plan on cutting the budget right now. Things are looking pretty good for Van Buren County, and that's where we want to keep it.
Okay, we'll move right into that question about the ARP funds, which we went over with the previous candidates. How, we've got approximately, we don't know the exact number at this moment, but somewhere around $1 million remains available in those ARP funds as we understand it. How would that best be used to the benefit of the county there, Becky?
With the ARP funds?
Yeah, the ARP funds, which is the federal money from the...
Right. I keep hearing the ARP funds. Once again, me not being in there, I don't know what that is for sure. I would love to get in there and read and see what it's for. I've been told that it cannot be used for pay raises. I've been told it cannot be used for county road funds. There's just a lot of things that I've been told that it can't be used for, so it's still kind of like, what can it be used for? what can it be used for? I can't ever get a straight answer from anybody when I ask.
Now, you are the ones that returned back from the sheriff's office. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, whatever you've got left, that's.
Yes. At this time, I'm not, I wouldn't want to use it for anything else right now. That money was, I don't like the word turn back, but the current administration decided they would not spend that at this time. They would allow the new sheriff, whoever comes in, to have access to some of those funds to do repairs at the jail or some of the things that they had planned for that. So I would be real relaxed as far as spending it on something else. I believe we need to let whatever new sheriff comes in have access to some of that to make repairs or whatever they need to do at the sheriff's office, because it's very expensive. I mean, when else are we going to have $1.2 million? Okay, some people call it Biden bucks. It's American Rescue Plan. It has to be used at a certain time and only certain things it can be used for.
Okay, Becky, we'll go back to you now, and please detail what you will do differently from your opponent and why.
Detail what I would do different. Well, the first thing that I would do is if I have somebody in my district reach out to me and ask me a question via text, via email, via voice, I will answer them. I will be honest with them, and I will say either if I know the answer, and if I don't, I will say, let me get back to you, and I will get back to you. Communication is one of my biggest things. If there's no communication, people get mad, people get upset, and I don't like that. I like to have good communication.
Go ahead and ask it. What do you want me to do?
Yes, that'll be, please detail what you will do differently from your opponent and why, to the degree you can know that.
Well, I'm not sure I'd do anything different, to be real honest. I know Becky, we've known each other a long time. As far as her up here, I don't know what she would do a little bit different. I do try to reach out to people. Everybody knows I've spoken of it many times during quorum court meetings. I'm not a big social media guy. If you want to reach me, you can reach me on the phone. I will talk to you, but you got to call me, or you can come visit me, or I'll come visit you. Don't call me on Messenger. Don't try to get me on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, because I'm probably not going to answer you on that.
We're not third cousins.
No.
Sorry, nobody heard that but me. Okay, this will be the last question for the two of you tonight. No, that was...
Make it a good one. Easy.
How will the county be improved if you are elected, Becky?
How will the county be improved if I'm elected? Well, I think good employee morale is the key. We have happy employees, we got a good county, is what I feel. People from outside looking in, we have employees that are complaining, I've not had a raise in 3 or 4 years, I'm struggling. It looks bad for our community. It looks bad for our county. That's what I agree. And I got to go back to the roads. Whenever I have people come into my barber shop and say, I went down Low Gap Road and it is horrible. I went down Butter Creek Road, it is horrible. That's upsetting to me whenever I have people do that. So I have to bring it to somebody's attention. And that's what I plan on doing.
I would continue doing exactly what we're doing. That's my plan. I think we're doing a good job in the county. I think we've got a good quorum court. Somebody asked me today what my agenda was. I don't have an agenda. My agenda is you people. That's my agenda. That's why I exactly run as an independent, because I work for the people. I think we're doing pretty good as a quorum court, and I'm going to continue doing what's best for the county.
Thank you both. We appreciate your time. Thanks for coming out tonight. And while they're leaving the stage, we're going to do yet another drawing for a pot of mums. And we will have the Clinton mayor's candidates head up to the stage at this time as well. Please, Richard McCormick and Dina Thompson Malone. Everybody get those tickets ready. Last 4 digits on this one, 8870. 887. It's the First Lady.
Oh, wow, you can't win anything.
She gets a pot of golden mums. Congratulations. Before we proceed with these mayor's candidates, I'd like to just find out, because I don't know who was actually able to make it out tonight on some of these. Are any of the Fairfield Bay City Council Ward 3 Position 1 candidates here? Yes?
2.
Both of them are? Wonderful, thank you. How about Ward 2 Position 1, Robert Otis and Ruth Krotz? Are they here? Okay, great. Your opponent is not here. Do you want to answer these questions or not? We're skipping that. Shirley City Council, is David Cook or Steve Privet here? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, Clinton. Okay, well, the City Council, we appreciate both of you coming. Obviously, municipal offices are nonpartisan, so these are both independent candidates. There's a reason we didn't mention that. While the City Council controls the appropriation of funding, the mayor frequently leads by setting the agenda for the city. What is your vision for the city of Clinton? We'll go ahead and start with Dina, I think, since she's the, since Richard is the incumbent, and we'll have a minute for that.
I'm like a lot of other folks in here. I think that we need growth for the city. I think we could get out and try to bring businesses here. And once we get them here, do things to maybe help keep them here.
Thank you. That'll be the same
vision
question
for
for
growth.
you, Richard. What's the vision for the city?
I agree with that. You try to get businesses here. As mentioned earlier, we have 20 new startups already, about approximately 20 new startup businesses, which is good. Everybody wants a big factory, all these things. That comes when it comes. We have, we're trying to retain what we have here with Cypress Valley and Natural States. I think the water departments worked well with them. Absolutely, we need more businesses, but I like entrepreneurship. I like making it easy for a business to start up. Businesses are starting to get around the court square. Very happy about that. Any incentives we can give them, that would be great. I think we'll work with the county. I think the county has a pretty good plan for the future. I think growth comes from the top down. So definitely encourage entrepreneurship, offer incentives via the county along with the city, if at all possible, and if we can afford it.
Thank you. The similar to the county, the city of Clinton received about $500,000 in ARP funds, and they similarly, the restrictions on them have been relaxed in such a way that they're available for more things. What, in your opinion, is the best way that those funds can be used for the city of Clinton?
Well, the way we did ours is we used our police and fire salaries. So that way that we can use our funds any way that we choose to. One pressing deal that we have is we have a fire truck that does not have a fire station that it can fit in. So I do know that we need to do that, and we will have to purchase some land for that also.
I concur with Dina. We have a great fire department. We have a great truck. We do need a facility to house it in. Also, the way that I'll give Dina credit on this for, I think it was revenue replacement. She geared it in a way and told us to bear with her, that we'll be able to spend these funds almost any way we want to. And because of that, I think we have access to about $320,000 immediately. But I would agree with that. Put it where it's most needed. The streets are lacking. They need some help, but certainly we need a home for our fire department. We've got a home, a building for every other entity in the city with a new city hall. We've got a new police station we're working on. Definitely need to concentrate on the fire department. Also, anything we could do to help streets.
Thank you both. We're going to move into some infrastructure issues, water and streets and stuff, since we've already started talking about that. The Clinton Water, and more particularly the sewer customers, have witnessed quite literally in 2019 skyrocketing rates, almost doubling at that time. While there have been, at the same time, there have been few practical improvements thus far to the water actually delivered to the customers. The rates are set for yet another increase, I believe, in the next month or two. They go up 5% every year for 5 years since 2019, so we've got a few years of rate increases ahead of us still. What improvements will you prioritize in the water and sewer infrastructure if you are elected? And we're aware, because it's frequently discussed, that there is something approximating a 10-year plan, but from an outsider's perspective, if you will, it doesn't appear to be prioritized in any way, in the sense that it just keeps fluctuating. There's a bunch of things that needs to be done. What would you prioritize in the water and sewer infrastructure, since we have gotten that budget over there balanced and really have a surplus?
I would prioritize the water lines, because I know in my city, or my area of the city, we have breaks all the time, and they are fixing breaks every day.
Same thing. I talked to Will Hinchy this morning. They're applying for grants, $5 million on both sides for water and sewer. New line was absolutely at the top of it for water. Also, improving the tanks, painting and refurbishing the tanks. Sewer, the priority, there's several of them. One is we have an exposed sewer line on the river that if it breaks, we're in trouble. Definitely a priority. The number one priority for the sewer system is infiltration from outside water. We're having to treat a whole bunch of groundwater and runoff that was never intended, and that takes a ridiculous amount of money. That's a major priority for the sewer side, absolutely. And then lift stations. We always have trouble with our lift station. Those are the three priorities in the sewer. Definitely old lines, major problem. Working on the same thing over and over again makes nobody happy.
That's right. Thank you. The city of Clinton agreed to acquire the Denard Water Company several years ago, but as of the most recent information available to me online anyway, that acquisition has never been finalized for years now. In the meanwhile, the Clinton Water Department has been paying on the debt and maintaining that water system, which has been particularly labor intensive as the Highway 65 construction was ongoing, and there were continual issues there, as was brought to the attention of the City Council on a monthly basis. Why has the city been unable to complete the acquisition of that department, and what will you do to get that taken care of?
I don't have any part of that. I'm the recorder treasurer for the city. The mayor is actually the one, and the water department, so I can't answer that question.
If elected, what will you do to get the job done?
If elected, I will do whatever I can, go to whoever I need to try to get everything that I need. I know that they are working on some of it, because Donna has, with the water department, has asked for some things from me, and I've given them to her, so I will do whatever it takes to get that finished.
As of this afternoon, we made a big stride in that, so this is the last printing. So we actually are going to acquire that. Hopefully, I don't know, 2 weeks to a month or whatever. Why hasn't it been done in the last month? I'd say probably poor management from your mayor. Ultimately, that's my responsibility. We did acquire them. I talked to a water department manager. I asked how much debt's involved, and it's something that we can continue just to pay on as they did, maybe $700,000. We have the money to do that. He has a good plan in place. just hasn't been implemented, but as of this afternoon, I think we started the process. So that should be taken care of. Thanks.
Thank you, Bo. As recently as last summer, in the city council meetings, the streets department had the bids and funds budgeted to resurface the loop starting from Volunteer Parkway around Quality Drive and back through Shake Rag to resurface that, yet this project was never started on a quite deteriorated series of roads there. However, over the past couple of months, some patchwork has been done around and some resurfacing has been done around the city. What is your plan? Do you have a plan to maintain city roadways if you're elected? Please, Dean.
Yes, I do. Every year we are budgeted so much in our budget. Several years we do not use any of that. Some years we only do use part of it. But if it is budgeted, I plan to use all of it because some of our roads are very, very bad.
Yeah, that Volunteer Parkway all the way around the Shake Rag, we do have that on the chopping block. As a matter of fact, we're awarded $300,000 from the state for an overlay. We figured in the Quality Drive, Industrial Drive, all the way straight down to the transfer station. We went ahead and crossed the 4-lane. We also went down in front of Petitjean all the way to Shake Rag. We took Shake Rag itself off of that, and we added an auditorium road at the school and give us a base and start a road up there. We'll have the funds to complete that. We overshot it, I think, by $80,000. So we have access to $300,000, but I think we can make up the difference with $80,000 on that. But that is definitely in the works and a priority. And other places that need it, we've started the worst places in patching it, and we'll just go worst case scenario from there. But yeah, we can do a lot better job on the roads, and that'd definitely be a priority.
Thank you, Bo. If you could, we'll start with Dean on this one as well because Richard's the incumbent. We know what he's doing. What would you do differently from your opponent and why if you are elected?
Well, if I'm elected, I would like to see growth in the city, and I will go out and try to get businesses to come here, work with the county, work with whoever to get incentives, because I know that a lot of folks, there's been several that has come by our office to talk. Some people won't talk. They don't want to talk to them. If they come to your city wanting to come, we need to talk to them. It may not be something we can help them with and get them to come there, but we do need to come. We need to at least acknowledge and see that they want to come there and see what we can do for them. And also, I think the morale in our city employees, we need to treat them with respect, because when treated with respect, you will get more out of them. And I think that we need to do some things different with our streets, because we need some ditching. We have a lot of run off from the water and stuff because of the ditches are not cleaned out.
Yeah, that'll be, if you could detail what you will do differently from your opponent if reelected.
Well, streets are definitely, and ditches, she's nailed it. You know, we have a situation under the old bus station with that drains field out. We've done some great things with the floodplain. We got, I think, almost all of downtown, 90% of downtown on the square out of the floodplain. It won't last very long if the water comes off the hill down Main Street and down Yellow Jacket Lane and runs down the middle of the road. That's a major priority, is to get that cleaned out. The water department is going to put a new sewer line in there. We're just going to have to dig that out by hand. So definitely need to prioritize the streets and the ditches, and got a new backhoe, and also we're waiting on a smooth bucket to clean out the ditches. I think that'll expedite a lot of our work, make it a lot quicker, a lot more efficient. But definitely need to clean out the ditches and do a better job than we have, for sure.
Thank you, and we'll finish with this one for the two of you. What is the best quality your opponent has to offer if elected that you do not?
Think of something. Who goes first?
Dina.
Here, you go first.
Dina goes first.
Repeat the question.
She needs some time, man.
Okay.
Best quality.
Well, let's see.
He can talk to everyone. He does not ever meet a stranger.
Best quality Dina has got the sharpest pencil, I think, in the county. She does a phenomenal job with the numbers, and that's why she was voted by her peers as Recorder Treasurer of the Year. That's a great quality to have. I do talk to a lot of people, and that works for me. Relationships matter all the difference. But I think that's the quality, her strongest quality, and the quality that I don't have anything close that she's got to offer.
We appreciate you both coming out tonight. Thank you for your time. Okay, we're going to get the candidates for Fairfield Bay Mayor moving up this direction. Dan Foyer, Jackie Sykes, and John Conry. If they'd start moving up toward the stage. And we'll do another drawing in the meanwhile here. Get your tickets out. We've got another pot of mums to give away. Last four digits, 8893. 8893. Who's the lucky winner of the other gold mum? Congratulations, man. Don't forget to pick this up, because I'm cleaning out a room for mums.
Okay, guys, we're going to be all friends. We're going to done.
We would never not be.
I know. Good, good. Some of those questions.
Thank you all for being here. The incumbent, Linda Duncan, was unavailable tonight, as evident from the panel here. We're going to get right into this now. I got to be honest. I got some questions from people in Fairfield Bay. And I have a feeling that half of you are here for this right now, but I had to curate them as well, because some of them I couldn't make heads or tails of, if I'm being honest. But we're going to do the best we can, because I am not as familiar with the affairs in Fairfield Bay as I am with some other things. So I'm going to work through this the best I can with you, okay? All three of you are contending for the office. None of you are an incumbent. We're going to start with John, please. We'll give you each 2 minutes. And if you would, I'm sorry, I can't talk and do this at the same time. Okay, we're going to give each of you 2 minutes. If you would, please detail your vision for the city of Fairfield Bay, if elected.
The vision goes a long way. It's deep. We're in a different situation. Like Adam said, we have a HOA, we have the city, we've got Cobblestone Hotel, we got the conference center. So our beast is a little different. Our goal, like you heard a lot from a lot of people here, is growth. Growth is what we all need, and that starts with tourism. We're in the middle of a tourist mecca. I look out in the audience and I see a lot of people, Ken and Sandy. Ken, I see a lot of people here that got here first through vacationing here, and then they became part-time owners here, and then they became full-time owners, which should be our goal, to grow the county. So the vision that I see is good, controlled growth. And by controlled, things can get out of control. Things can grow too fast. We see nationally right now a housing downturn in interest rates. Things went crazy. Everybody remembers 2008. Things kind of went off the rail. So you need good, solid, controlled growth with a good foundation to move forward. With that, we got to use the county and everything that the county offers to do that. We're the resort. Clinton has the traffic, and we can work together to build growth overall.
Thank you. We'll move right down the line to Jackie, please, with that same question.
Okay.
What is your vision for the city?
My vision for the city starts with unity. We are very unique in Fairfield Bay. The way I think of Fairfield Bay is you've got three main entities. You've got the city, whose main focus needs to be on the residents. You have the resort, whose main focus is on tourism. And then you have the chamber, who tends to be the stepchild. And as your current chamber director, I think that needs to change. I don't want the chamber to ever be the stepchild. They represent the businesses. And so we've got to start working together, all three of us working together for a common goal and continue to move Fairfield Bay forward. I'm also very involved at the county level with economic development and growth within common communities. I've also been a justice of the peace. I think it's vital that we also work with our county. And I'd like to see more communication between the county and those three entities. And we have to do that on a regular and consistent basis with respect and honesty and, transparency.
Well, I agree 100%. We do need to have some unity in our community. For a long time, Fairfield Bay worked together. But for some reason, the past few years, things have kind of fallen apart. And we need to get back to that, because when we're together as a community, we go places. We build, we do better, our economy grows, people move into the city, and that's just something that we need to do. And again, and we need to work with the county as well, because when we grow, the county grows. And we've had more houses built in the area than we have in years. And it's very important that we just have to work together. And that's my vision. And I see Fairfield Bay growing leaps and bounds in the near future.
Thank you all. I think we'll go right back down to John to start this next question.
Give me that.
And we'll go down to a minute on this particular question for each of you. If elected, what will distinguish you from your opponents?
What can distinguish me is I've ran a lot of businesses, took businesses over with Aon Corporation. I started with a team out of 400 teams in the United States. We were like 330th. In 2 years, we were number 3. A lot of people know me from the marina. I took over a business that was losing $100,000 a year, and in 5 years, we generated well over $2 million worth of profit after expenses for the community club. So the distinguishing factor is I know how to take something that isn't working the way it should and turn it into a success. And I understand that with the city, it's a much different municipality. It's a slower pace, but I also have a good understanding of that.
Okay. Well, if you go to my website, IBelieveInTheBay.com, you'll see that I've had a lot of businesses. I run a lot of businesses. But the main thing that differentiates myself from my candidates is I believe I have a true passion of serving my community. And again, go to my website and see all that. It's something that I firmly believe in. All the years that I have served in my community in different capacities, I believe it's led me here tonight to ask for your vote as mayor, and I would continue to do that. You should never ask who is that person that's running for office, who is the mayor. You should know me. Many of you in this room know me. Why? Because I have a true heart for my community, and I show it by my actions. I'm a doer.
What makes me different from my candidates is I've been here for 19 years, working with the newspaper, and I have seen the community club go through board members after board members year after year. I've seen the board do nothing. I've seen the board do things. I've seen the city. I've been with the city council meetings year after year, so I know I have a good understanding of how the city businesses run. Of course, there's a lot I need to learn, and a lot that we all need to learn. But I have a gift or an ability to get people to work together, and I just want everybody to come together and make Fairfield Bay what it used to be, because it's just not there right now. sorry.
Thank you all. This was a frequent question from a variety of people. Will you be able to work with the community club? And specifically, what will you do to repair the broken relationship between the community club board and the city of Fairfield Bay? We'll start with John on that.
Do I have about 20 minutes?
You got one.
I've been around Fairfield Bay since 1986. So for 36 years, I've watched Fairfield Bay thrive in a boom time. And then I watched FCI go broke and got to witness a city being born in 1993. And after the city was born, the city realized they have to work with the club. And over all those years, we've had ups and we've had downs, and we'll have ups again and we'll have downs. I never want to surround myself with people that shake their head yes. I need people that disagree with me so we can think outside of the box. I can tell you this, that I have 18 seconds left. Cool. But with any animosity that comes from anywhere, it will not come from this side of the fence. We'll do everything we can to work with the community club. And the community club needs us as much as the city needs the community club. It's a two-way street.
Can I work with the community club? Absolutely. And in fact, I already am. And I'm very excited about a current project that I'm working with our current president of the resort board, and I work almost every event that the chamber has done this year. I've had support of different members at the resort. So we're working on a very big Christmas project right now, and Fairfield Bay is going to be the place to have Christmas, so put it on your calendar. So, and I love working with them. And, you know, you're not going to always agree with each other. I am a firm believer in agreeing to disagree by still getting things done. And I'm going to let my record with all the different organizations that I've been involved in this community, I'm going to let my record stand.
Well, I believe I can work with the community club. I have actually for the past 19 years, so I have a really good understanding of how the club works, how it works with the city, and the relationship between the club and the city is strenuous at times, to say the least. But when people work together and actually communicate with each other and have respect for one another, you can work things out. And I know the club has the best interest for the city, and the club has the best interest for its residents and the visitors, and the city has its best interest for the residents as well as the potential property owners. So I believe we can all work together.
Thank you all. Another question along the same line. How will you work with the community club to resolve these issues regarding zoning, ATV movement through the city, and the short-term rental issues? Go ahead and start with John again. Thank you.
Well, regardless of what's been done in ordinances, I believe the community club took some good action in putting signs up. I know there was a committee that got involved and did some really, really good things for the side-by-sides and to control that and keep people on the trails. I also believe that that is a huge boon for us as a community and as a county. It brings a lot of people here that love to ride their side-by-sides, and they spend a lot of money here. Short-term rental, I'm pro short-term rental, but with restrictions. I don't believe in a blanket policy. You can't make a blanket policy that fits everything. You can't do that. You've got to protect the residents, but I am pro short-term rental. Was there anything else?
I think that covers it.
Okay. One of the things I learned after 3 years in Uncommon Communities with the Rockefeller Institute is that you have to have in your community what is the one thing that differentiates you from other resort communities, and that's our UTV trails. But I do want to see them maintained a little bit better, and because we really don't need that liability. So I think that's one of our great assets and makes us different from other resort communities. And there's room for both. Yes, I'm pro short-term rental. I had one myself. But there needs to be restrictions. If you're in an area that really doesn't want them, let's help you get those covenants and restrictions in place and then enforce them so we don't have any issues. But I also don't want to break that entrepreneurship spirit and not let those short-term rentals come, because that's how Fairfield Bay was founded, with short-term rentals with Wyndham. So we're not gonna cut that off, but there's room for both.
The UTV ATV program has worked so well for Fairfield Bay. We've got people coming from out of state coming to our community. The trails are just so much fun for people. I think they really enjoy it when the weather's even wetter and colder. They seem to really enjoy it then. And like John said, they have areas for them to park, and they're working on another area, a much bigger area. I think they have through a grant by the old library, or no, the old Lions Club. The old Lions Club. And so they're going to be building that for the UTV ATVs. As far as short-term rentals, again, I agree with them. We need to have short-term rentals because that's what made Fairfield Bay great in the first place. But if you're going to have a short-term rental and you apply for an application, let's give them an opportunity. Don't say that 3 strikes are out and let's not have a chance to put you at bat. So let's give them a chance to prove themselves, and we will have restrictions, but let's just give them a chance.
Moving along here in the same vein, how will you help grow and encourage more tourism to Fairfield Bay and support the small businesses that depend on tourism to survive?
Anybody who knows me knows that I believe we live in an outdoor wilderness paradise. And we got to witness with COVID where other businesses struggled. And even certain businesses in Fairfield Bay, some of the restaurants struggled. But overall, Fairfield Bay thrived enormously because we were an outdoor wilderness playground. And we keyed on that. A lot of people discovered Fairfield Bay during that. So the tourism and the growth brings the people that we want to move here permanently, and that's how we're going to grow and add to our population base. And that's going to, anytime you add population base, then you have new businesses that want to come in and a new tax base. And like some other people said from Clinton here, we need to look at giving the businesses as much of a break as we can and help support them, whatever business that is. We got to help support them and grow them, and you do that by increasing your population.
Okay, well, I'm in a very unique position because as your chamber director, one of the first things that I did was I convinced my chamber to move our location, because we were dying where we were at, move it to the Lions Club and start a visitor center. We'd never had a visitor center. That's a no-brainer. The chamber has all these handouts. It's my job to get rid of all those handouts. And it promotes our entire community. So I did start the first visitor center in Fairfield Bay, where we actually have information about our community and surrounding areas. So that's vital. But I'm also in a great position because I am so pro-business, and I've been able to connect new businesses, new entrepreneurs coming into Fairfield Bay. I've connected the building owners with the new businesses. We've had quite a few new businesses come in. So Dale James, don't forget Fairfield Bay. We got a lot of new businesses that are coming into Fairfield Bay, and we are growing as we speak, and I've been fortunate enough to be a part of that, and I'll continue that as your mayor.
The growth of Fairfield Bay is very important, and the mall in Fairfield Bay is very important to the Bay. And as Jackie said, we have a lot of new businesses coming in, and I think if we do offer tax incentives or offer these businesses something so that they can come here, that'll bring tourists in, and the Bay will just grow like crazy. We have so much to offer people. The tourists, like John said earlier, when COVID hit, we thrived. We did better than a lot of other communities in the area, and again, the county thrived as well. So we just have so much to offer, and I think we can do very well.
Thank you all. This last question that we had was actually directed about the short-term rental issue, which I feel like we've pretty thoroughly covered. So I'm going to turn you all loose. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. As they're leaving, we're going to, I believe we did have Don Bailey and Bella Comas here. Yes, okay, if you would come on up. They are both candidates for the Fairfield Bay City Council Ward 3, Position 1 on their city council. I received a number of questions that were really directed towards the mayor's race that didn't actually fall within the jurisdiction of the mayor's office, so we kind of rearranged some things for the city councilors since they function as the legislative body in the city. Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Thank you for inviting us.
Don is the incumbent in this office and Bella is running against him this. So we're going to go ahead and start with you, Bella, please.
Ready?
If you could detail what will be your priorities if you're elected.
Well, I want to unify the houses because if the houses aren't unified, we're not going to make it, okay? And I'm all about volunteering. I think that's the cement of our city. Like I said, I want to be an advocate for enhanced outreach program to attract more people and new volunteers. To become a representative on the council for volunteers organizations to ensure city and volunteer efforts are integrated, because we have a lot of we were Volunteer Community of the Year in 2019, and I want to bring that back because I feel like the fabric of our city has been divided, and I'd like to be proactive in joining the resort and the city together because I have a really good relationship with the resort.
Thank you, Bella. We'll have the same question there for Don. What will be your priorities if you're re-elected?
As the council person, the incumbent for the last 6 years, our priorities have always been to enhance the growth of Fairfield Bay and as well make sure that our base, our volunteer base, is there. Sadly, in the last couple of years, and it's a national trend, it is just not at all Fairfield Bay's problem or Clinton's problem. The problem is that volunteers, for one reason or another, are hard to come by. And we have worked hard. We have encouraged people to take part in the various city committees and so forth. As a matter of fact, John just recently became a member of our public service group, which is new, and has done a marvelous job. So I think that as far as volunteerism is concerned, it is our job as a council person, as an entire council, to promote that, to make sure that we get the job done and get it done with people that are happy about doing what they're doing.
Thank you. We'll go back to Bella with this one. What will you do differently from your opponent and why?
Well, I want to be the voice for the people of Fairfield Bay. That seems to be an issue, and I would be the advocate. I believe that you can come to me, and if we had a situation, because right now, like tomorrow, they're doing the EMS. They're going to be talking about the EMS medical, who's going to be supplying all our medical needs as far as the ambulance company. They got 3. They're going to be meeting with Dale and at the Clinton Quorum. And that is something that everybody needs to get involved with. That's super important as far as we have a lot of seniors that live up there. We have senior homes. So that is a really super important issue that needs to be discussed with me and constituents. Because a lot of you folks might not know, but I started off as a volunteer firefighter, got picked up full-time with California, CAL FIRE, and I'm certified in almost everything. And I worked on ACL crew, do 1,392 hours, so I'm really familiar with those components.
Thank you very much. We'll have the same question for you, Don.
As to what I would do different.
Yeah, what will differentiate you from
Well,
your
I think the big thing that would differentiate us, me in particular, and the council in general, is the fact that we've had experience with budgets and with personnel and with problems and working with the community club and as well as the county for various and sundry projects. I personally would continue to do exactly what we're doing. We have been more than forthright. We have always, as a council, and I'm speaking about myself as well, as part of the council for the last 6 years, up front with what's going on. We publish our minutes. We've even been on TV and so on and so forth. Basically, what we need to do, I believe very strongly, is we need to make sure that the city is safe, a good place to live, that my wife or any other lady in the city can walk the streets without fear of being harmed. We've made those things happen through policy, through allocation of funds. We've done what we can do, so I would say that we continue to do the same.
Thank you. We'll go back to Bella with this next question. Will you help improve short-term rental housing options so large and multi-generational families can be housed in those short-term rentals?
I'm pro short-term rentals because most folks that have gone through the short-term rentals, they eventually ended up being a homeowner. And that brings a lot of tourism and it brings a lot of dollars to our city. I believe in restrictions that are fair, working with the police department, because I mean, I found out that 75% of our tourism, that funds our city in taxes. Like, you know, how we're going to lose Dollar General right now because they're building a store. We're losing $20,000 a year because of that loss. But with the short-term rentals, when we have tourism come in and visit our mall and spend the money in our restaurants, it brings a lot of money to our city, especially the UTVs. I want to be top 10 in the UTV, ATV trails. We have the potential to make those trails like top 5 in Arkansas, and there's a lot of people coming out of state to do that. So tourism and short-term rentals, they go hand in hand.
Thank you, Don. That'll be the same question.
In regard to short-term rentals, we were right at the forefront as a member of the council when this issue came up. And I can say truthfully that I am pro short-term rental, but I'm also pro citizens, permanent residents. The permanent residents of Fairfield Bay elect all of us on the council. They elect the mayor. Our first priority should be whether or not short-term rentals, in particular, in general, are going to affect the people who live there. Yes, it sounds nice about the revenue, but if you'll take a chance to, or not a chance, but the opportunity to come to the office and we can show you how many dollars that means to us, not necessarily to the community, but in terms of license fees and A&P taxes that we collect on those things, basically the majority of it comes between March and June. After that, it's not so much and it gets down in April. Those are numbers, those are hard facts.
Thank you, and we're going to continue in this short-term rental issue kind of from the opposite direction. This question is, do you feel that neighbors should have a say during the permitting process for the short-term rentals, or should the applicant automatically get a permit as long as they meet the stipulations of the ordinance? Or in more specific terms, how much control should a neighbor have over the neighbor's use of their private property?
Well, I went to some of the P&L, Planning and Zone Committee meetings regarding short-term rentals, and I believe, well, okay, there was a couple neighbors. I think the people that live like 200 feet away, maybe 300, should have a say-so. That they should come to the meetings and say, you know, hey, you know, we're for it or we're against it, you know, and let us know, the city council, what's going on and there's, you know, what they believe. But I think it was unfair on some of it where they had people that were 1,000 feet away come in and complain, and then some of the neighbors that were 100 or 200 feet away, they didn't get to say anything because they had put in a planning and zone. They had volunteers, because it's all volunteers, but they had people that were there that were against short-term rentals, which backfired on some of the people that were trying to rent. They ended up selling their house and leaving Fairfield Bay. So I think it could be, it just has to be a fair crew on that zoning committee.
Thank you, thank you. Don, that'll be the same question about the neighbors.
In actuality, if you look at the numbers, we've had 21 applications thus far for short-term rentals. We have, as a council, approved 15 of them. The issue of whether or not we should just cut people loose to build what they want to build, use their property, what they want to lose, in a 1A and 1B district. One of the things that gets glossed over real quickly is Fairfield Bay has a definite zoning plan. We have zones for residential, for business, for whatever. What I am really concerned about are people who come in a residential district, and we have rules with your 75 feet either side, front and back. Those are the people that we need to have show up. Oftentimes, they don't, or there's no property owner available. They live in Timbuktu. They are notified by certified mail. We see them all the time. If there is no objection, if the house is in the middle of a forest and there's nobody around, and so be it, nobody objects, let's do that. But carte blanche, just cut them loose. As a matter of fact, we have several, if not, well, I don't know how many exactly, but several of these units, STUs, short-term rentals, in residential districts that are owned by LLCs. That's a corporation. And you don't put a corporation in my book, in my training. You just don't do that in a single-family dwelling thing. I'm not being hard about it. I love STRs if the right people get it, if they go through the process. But it is insane to me, as a trained person in urban planning, that we would just say, well, just come in and try it. If you screw up, we're going to, get bad. We have rules. They are comprehensive. The application process is clear and concise. And bless their heart. If they want to do that, if the neighbors agree, I'm all for it. And so is the rest of the council.
Thank you very much. And this will be the last question for the two of you. Bella, what is the best quality that you will bring to the office that your opponent does not?
I think new outlook on things, the fact that I get along with everybody. Not, I know a lot of people were getting mad at me about things, but honestly, you can get more done with honey than you can with vinegar. And I really want to just unite everybody and make them all happy and just get back to a big old Fairfield family, a Fairfield Bay family. That's what we need to do, is unite. I'm just going to be real and keep myself humble and answer the questions best I can.
So this is the question about what's her best quality?
No.
What's mine?
What's your best quality that you bring to the table?
Basically, I have a career record of owning 4 businesses. Correct me, honey, it's 4, I think. I've worked for IBM, I've worked for Exxon in management. I was responsible for fiscal things, matters. Had many duties, personal and everything else. The city of Fairfield Bay is a microcosm of all of that. We have singularly the best group of people working for us in Fairfield Bay that I've been associated with in a long, long time. Our police people are great. Our firemen are great. Our dispatching group is great. Our OEM until recently was super. And it's these kinds of people that continue to come to Fairfield Bay, and I really want to see them, and I want to encourage them, and we do encourage them. We try to provide our employees with the tools. I gripe a lot about the tools. Police cars are tools. We got 2 of them recently without having to borrow any money for the first time since I've been on the council. We've got a new fire truck we approved last night. We'll have a ladder truck. We're going to be safe. So in short, I think that my strengths are in management. I do get along with people. To John out there, he knows what it's like being a car salesman, and I had 3 car dealerships, and so you have to get along with people to sell them used cars.
Thank you very much. We appreciate both of you coming out tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as they are leaving, we will get, I believe that we had Robert Otis and Ruth Krotz here. Is that correct? Oh, Robert is not here.
Oh,
Okay.
you should have Ruth come up with a.
Ruth, would you like to?
I was going to suggest it, but I didn't have to tell you. They can vote for anybody on maybe order.
All right.
Okay, Ruth, we'll just whip through these with you. Real quick, we appreciate you coming out tonight and being able to be here with us. What will be your priorities if you are elected?
If I have the ability, you guys need to understand, we've got a mayor, 3 city council positions open. Okay, we have a mayor and 3 city council positions open. If I get elected and I'm the only one that changes, I might not be able to do a thing. And you guys have to know that, because right now it's kind of a voting block that does whatever wants to go through. But if I had a say, my first thing would be to keep us out of state and local news for all the crap we've been doing. It's ridiculous that I go to Conway. It's ridiculous that I go to Conway and people find out where I'm from and they ask, what the heck are we doing down here? Now, the second thing, I have a few issues that have happened the last few years. I don't know all the answers because I'm not in all those meetings that they have. I have some real issues with the way we have handled short-term rentals. I have some issues with the way we've handled the UTV trails. I definitely have some issues with the way we handled the EMS situation. And I think we need to straighten that out and get it done. I have some issues with the way we lost our senior meals and never brought it back. I have some severe issues with the way the city and the community club do not seem to be able to work together anymore. Those are my priorities.
I don't know if I should ask any more questions or just let her go. I'm going to ask another question. So you brought up the short-term rentals. Why don't you tell us what is your position on the short-term rentals, since we're not really debating it?
My position on short-term rentals, they say that we have zoning laws in place, but my understanding is they didn't even know that zoning law was there until somebody went and started digging through the ordinances and found it about a year ago, because they were crabbing about the short-term rentals. We didn't even know it was there. We have long been a community that has invited tourism and has invited short-term rentals. We've been built on that. But we found that clause, so now all of a sudden it's a major issue. If I could do what I wanted, I would do away with that. I'd give every neighborhood the opportunity to pass covenants and restrictions that would limit that. Give them time to do that, and any neighborhood that chose not to, it would be open to short-term rental.
Thank you. What is now of course your opponent is not here to speak for himself, but what is the best quality you offer that your opponent does not bring to this office?
I'm not a yes person.
What will you do differently? This doesn't even make sense to ask this question at this point, but it's the only question I've got.
Everything.
What will you do differently from your opponent? In detail.
Now, I know Robert is not totally against UTVs, so I think we could have together on that, but he's gone along with whatever the city has done. I think Robert has a lot of experience that I don't have, but I think that we need to focus on the fact that, yes, we need to grow our population, but that's going to come through tourism, and we cannot be doing things that destroy our tourism. And the last 2.5 years, every time we've turned around, we've had major issues that are driving our tourists away, and that's what I would do different, is I would focus. The other thing is we really seriously need to build a bridge between the community club and the city and be able to work together. I had somebody tell me, oh, well, that doesn't affect the city because it goes to the community club. Guess what, people? I'm the city, I'm the community club. It's my pockets that pay for all of it. I don't care which side it is. If they run out of money, I, as a permanent resident, am going to have to pay for it.
Thank you. And this, we're going to skip this other question and get your position on these ATV trails and transportation through the city.
Well, of course, I'm for the UTV trails. Now, when they first started, I have to admit that maybe we were being a little too lenient, that maybe we did need to strengthen up, have some restrictions. We had some little kids driving them on the streets. That's not right. So I have no problem with having reasonable restrictions. I'm glad that we got the different trailheads available, that we can now utilize them. I have ridden a few of the trails. I do agree that we need to make some of them a little more passable. For inexperienced riders, some of those are going to be pretty difficult and could be a liability situation.
Thank you very much, Ruth. It was a pleasure. Thanks for coming out tonight. Okay, moving down our list here. Oh, I forgot. We need to do another drawing. We got one more pot of mums here. Last four digits, 8899. 8899. Did we have an 8899 out there? Paula? You can't win, Paula. 8899. Let's go for 8851. But don't tell me some people left already. Well, I'm not taking this pot of mums home, so we'll sit here and do this all night. 8884. Oh, Jamie. Thank you. Congratulations on a new pot of purple mums. Okay, we are passing over the Shirley Mayor's candidates. Casey was unable to be here tonight. Lisa has chosen not to endure this since there's nobody to debate. Shirley City Council position 1, David Cook and Steve Privet. The purple one on the end, yeah. I don't want that, no. Thank you, though. You can deposit it in a file 13 over there on the way out the door. David Cook or Steve Privet, I don't believe they responded earlier either. And Deborah Kerrigan was unable to make it, as I understand it. And, no, Deborah was here, but Marcus Morgan is not here. Is that correct? Okay. Hey, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. We made it. I'm getting you out of here. It's only 8:30. Thank you all for coming. I forgot one person here. Thank you, Philip. Thank you. Dr. Quintessa Hathaway came all the way up here, and she didn't get here earlier when we invited the state and national candidates. She would like to speak to us for 2 minutes. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry, I almost forgot.
It's quite all right. Things happen. I didn't take it personally. My name is Dr. Quintessa Hathaway, and I'm seeking to be your next Congresswoman for the 2nd District. It took me a while to get up here because, as you all know, this is a busy season in politics. But I was determined to make my way to Van Buren County. This is one of my last stops along the campaign trail, so I was like, let me go down here and see these good freedom-loving people up here in Clinton, Arkansas. I am a longtime educator. Are my fellow educators in the room? Current and former? Fantastic. I know that we have been getting a lot of exposure when it comes to teacher pay. I feel that. I understand. I hear you. And if you all take the time to look at my platform and my policy when it comes to education, please take the time. Because rural Arkansas, Central Arkansas needs an educator who is an advocate for all teachers, administrators, families, children, and building entire communities, because you all matter to me. So I feel that every single day I'm still teaching too. So I know what it feels like to endure both being on the campaign and educating my students and grading papers and creating lesson plans and all those things. Are there any, I don't know, which direction do I want to go next? Are there any members of the military? Current, former members of the military? I'm a former military wife. The ladies, those families also endure the pain and the pain of what it feels like to be back at home and concerned about your loved one as they are on deployment or either serving in the reservists. I totally understand. Not only is the current incumbent on that side, he has done, and I'm going to speak quite frankly, he has done some great work for our veterans. But I tell you that I will do and enhance that work in such a way because I know what is required. I know that our veterans need better health care. They need to be seen. We ought to eradicate homelessness all across this country, not just in Central Arkansas, but all across this nation to support those patriots and their families that have given so much for this nation. When it comes to rural Arkansas, we need infrastructure. I listened to you all very attentively when you talked about building commerce here, the necessity of growth, what it is going to take for the local legislature, the local executives to bring some rental properties and those landlords to this area to build out your recreational and leisure activities. My role as your future legislature, if the great people of this area feel so inclined to vote for me beginning October 24th, through October 24th through November 8th, I want to help bring some resources down to the municipalities and support what is happening at the local level to inform you all of whatever grants and opportunities are available to you, as well as in another capacity, I'm also an entrepreneur. I own an education consulting firm, and my hand touches every single part of my company. So when I tell you that as a business executive, I want to make sure that you all have the monies necessary to wield as much power on your behalf to make sure those resources come down and touch every single one of you, whether that's on the behalf of a small business, a medium-sized business, or even a corporation coming to Van Buren County and the outlying areas. I tell you all these things because I love Arkansas. It has been home to me for over 10 years, and it feels good to be in this place. And if you all grant me the blessing and opportunity to be your next Congresswoman, please push the button, check Hathaway, make me the new way so that we can have some new leadership, a new opportunity, so that daylight can come to this area that is going to fight for you and not be mousy. Because this loud voice of mine, it is time for us to really have a pronouncement on the national stage that's not going to run away and be limited to not answering a phone call. You all can reach out to constituent services, speak with the staff, and also get me on the phone directly. I'm going to give you all my phone number. Write it down, lock it in, do whatever you need to, but I am reachable. I'm touchable, and again, I apologize for coming through late, but I've been running around like mad. I'm going to give you all two numbers. One, I call it the local number, that's the campaign number, 501-708-3434. I'm going to say it again, 501-708-3434. Now, you all, I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee. Those are my roots. I call myself city country because I'm born and raised in Nashville, but we had some land down in the country, and I know all about these chasing pigs and milking cows and feeding chickens and goats in the front yard and picking turnip greens. I know all about that stuff. Don't count me out just because I look young. But I held on, But I held on to my Nashville roots too. I call this the main line. That number is 615-473-3213. 615-473-3213. Go to the campaign website, QuintessaHathaway.com. My name is spelled just the way it sounds. It sounds just the way it's spelled. My parents did very well. Quintessa. Hathaway. When you think about Hathaway, think about Donnie. There is a familial relationship. Okay? Together, let's take Central Arkansas onward, forward, upward, and outward. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Hathaway. Appreciate you coming out and appreciate your patience going through our agenda. Okay, I think I'm telling the truth this time. We appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a great night.